I was starting all over again just by being pregnant. It was at that point in time where my husband and I sat down and had a hard conversation. Do we go all in and focus on me and my ability and my skills to grow the firm for myself? And I'm a big believer in believing in yourself, because it's all about your mindset. You can achieve anything with that mindset. Whenever I am running a litigation case and I have to go before a judge, the first thing that I say between God and I is, God, I've done my bit. The rest is up to you. I can't tell you how many times that I've had shivers by situations where I was told are impossible. However, we've achieved the impossible. I wanted to be in the room with other business owners that have that same ability. Yep. And I knew that this would be a long-term investment, because building trust is not overnight. And this is what a lot of people don't understand. They walk in a room, hand out their business card.
I hate that. It's like they're shoving it down your throat. I met you 3 seconds ago, man.
There were moments where I would be in deep tears, not knowing how to handle or manage a situation, because it's all about how you deal with any problem. What steps are you going to take? And at that time, I was still learning how to navigate balancing all these different priorities. But one thing I can tell you, Pat, is I never gave up.
Welcome back on the Connect podcast. Today's episode 35, and today's guest is a highly respected legal professional, business owner, and a community leader who's built a reputation for helping people navigate some of life's most challenging moments with clarity, compassion, and expertise. Antoinette Khalil is the founder and principal director of Khalil Lawyers, a Sydney-based law firm where she's established in 2018. Admitted to practice in 2010, she's an accredited specialist in family law, a distinction held by only a select group of lawyers who have demonstrated advanced expertise in their field. Throughout her career, Antoinette has worked closely with individuals, families, and businesses, guiding them through complex legal matters while maintaining a strong focus on practical outcomes and genuine client care. Now, beyond her professional achievements, Antoinette is a devoted wife, a mother of 4, and it gives her a unique perspective on the importance of family relationships, balance, and the reality of modern life. Today, we're going to explore her journey from lawyer to business owner, the lessons she's learned from years of working with people through life's toughest challenges, and her insights on relationships, resilience, leadership, and success. Please join me in welcoming Antoinette Khalil to the Connect podcast.
Thank you, Pat. I really appreciate you having me on your podcast today. It means a lot to me, but that intro just, wow, honestly, it took me by surprise. Like, who is he talking about? Not me.
Well, that's perspective. When you're looking back, it's like, wow, there's a whole heap of achievements over all these years. But one thing I didn't mention on that little bio that I put together is, and another reason why I actually wanted you to come on the podcast is, above all these things, being a mother, being a wife, being a business owner, being a principal lawyer, having to deal with employees, having to deal with all these challenging situations day in, day out in your field, I still see you at the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning. How do you do it? Tell us, what does Antoinette's life look like?
Well, the secret ingredient to success is being at the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning. And that's the best part of my journey, is that it has taken me a long time to realize that going to the gym, waking up at 4:30 in the morning, being at the gym and doing my workout first thing, it creates some sort of energy buzz for me. Yeah. It allows me to release all the stress that, I've had being a mother of 4, running a practice, and all the issues that you come in face to face every day. Going to gym allows you to do that. So I highly recommend any business owner. No one can say they have a busier life than me. If I can get to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning, then everyone else can be committed and determined to do it too. So I highly recommend it.
It's interesting you say that, because I felt like it's been a bit of a game changer for me. Training in general, sometimes I don't make it at 5 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I don't make it in the morning. Sometimes I do it in the afternoon. But I notice every time I train, or every time I keep some sort of a routine exercise happening in the background, I'm more focused, I'm more on point. And then it supports me in my mental state, and it helps me navigate the different situations in life and in business.
Correct. And I can't tell you the amount of strategic thoughts that I have come up with during that time that have been, created drastic events to my clients, to my life. that, just purely by waking up, going to the gym, being disciplined and having a routine. Vitally important for any business owner.
Well done. Take us back, Antoinette. Take us back to where it all started. So we've just listed all these achievements. We know where you're at now. We know where Khalil Lawyers is at now. But where did it all begin?
Well, it all began when I decided to do my degree and do law back in 2010 when I finished my degree and I found my first job opportunity in a firm in the city. I given my values of being a hard worker, I had good work ethic. I was always looking for opportunities to grow myself and to support the firm. And that's when I was working long hours for a firm. We did predominantly commercial work, and I was dealing with international corporations, doing a lot of their corporate documentations and giving advice on cross-border transactions. And I was dealing with CEOs, directors of those entities, people in powerful positions. I then realized that there was an opportunity that existed for me to be able to redirect my my skills and look at family law.
Is this with the same company?
Correct. So with the same firm, I saw an opportunity to be able to start doing family law because I'm a people person. I build relationships. Trust is a big value for me. And I was able to build trust with a lot of the clients that came through that firm. And in order to educate myself, that's when I started to do my master's in family law. After that, in 2015, I then got pregnant with my first child. And then being in a male-dominated industry, the industry is not so passionate about understanding females that want to pursue their career and also wanting to have that balance motherhood and being a career-driven woman. That then drove me to pursue a firm in Parramatta, somewhere more local than the city. However, again, being in a male-dominated industry, 2 years after, in 2017, I fell pregnant with my second child. And after growing that firm to a point where it was the family law practice had grown, I then felt like I was starting all over again just by being pregnant and giving birth to my second.
Yeah.
It was at that point in time where my husband and I sat down and had a hard conversation whilst I was on maternity leave. Do I continue to build other people's firms or do I focus on me? And that's when we went all in on me. We did not have any savings. This was not a plan that we had invested in. It was more of a, do we go all in and focus on me and my ability to, and my skills to grow the firm for myself. And that's how it started in 2018. And I just put my head down. Since then, I was able to grow the firm. In 2021, I gave birth to my third child during COVID. And that was a bit of a struggle, but the firm survived COVID. The next challenge was in 2023 when I gave birth to my fourth child. During that time, I did my accreditation as well. And if you speak to any solicitor, getting an accreditation is not an easy process. It's very challenging at the time. I remember that when I was doing the exams, my daughter was 10 days old.
Yeah, wow.
And I was doing the 3.5-hour exam and the interview the next day. And that just goes to show that when you are focused, when you put your mind to something, anything is possible. And I'm a big believer in believing in yourself, because it's all about your mindset. You can achieve anything with that mindset.
Yeah. So I guess before these exams and this sit-down conversation, you would have had to study a fair bit.
Correct.
Your daughter was 10 days old. So just
correct.
put into perspective, you had the business, you had 3 kids and heavily studying for this exam and going through that accreditation. Take us back to that, because I feel like what that would have looked like back then could have paved the moment of who you are today? Because there's a lot of resilience and there's a lot of hard work and effort, but I guess it takes a different sort of human to go through all of that as a compound in one go. What did that life look like back then?
It was a difficult time because
really?
it was a difficult time, and I just wanted accreditation was a big thing for me because being an industry expert is very important. So anyone can build a business. However, being an industry expert in your business is very key to success.
And this was for family law, correct?
This was for family law, correct.
Okay.
And I wanted to reach the level of being an accredited specialist because I knew that would open a lot of opportunities for me and be able to have different conversations with different type of people. It was a personal goal for me that it was up to me to work hard and achieve it. And that was the biggest moment for me, is that I just, from the beginning of the year, when I said, yes, I'm going to enroll, I knew the road ahead of me, and I just put my head down, and any opportunity, I did not waste it. I focused on studying and getting the accreditation. We found out our results later on in that year, in November, and that was the defining moment for me. When I got the results that I had passed, it was just a complete
weight off your shoulders.
Correct. And the best feeling ever.
I can imagine. So when you made that decision at the start of the year to say, this year I'm going to go for my accreditation, did you know you were pregnant then?
Yes.
You did?
I
did.
did.
Knew you were pregnant.
I knew I was pregnant.
So you knew what was coming ahead with the pregnancy.
And I knew that when I was due in July, and I knew that the exam period would be in that time. And I still went all in.
So was there any part of you that thought to yourself, you know what, how about this year I just pop out the baby and then I'll do my accreditation next year?
No.
Why?
Okay, I'm going to be honest with you,
Go
Pat.
for it.
Faith is a big part of my journey in my career. And I know a lot of times faith is not spoken about. I prayed and I asked God to help me make the answer and make the decision whether I apply. And I did not apply. It was not easy to make the decision to apply. I waited until the last day of when the application period was open, and a voice inside of me said, I've got you, go for it. And that's all I needed. And the rest was up to God. I met him halfway. I did the best that I could. And the rest was up to him. And to be honest, that's my journey. My journey was all about, I'm here because I put him first, and I am able to do what I can to, faith is a big part of me.
You do your part, and then he does his part where he can, where he steps in, where he feels is necessary. So has that always been a pivotal part of your focus in your journey as faith? Because there's been a couple of guests that have come on here before that may not have the same connections to faith as other guests. And I'm always curious to know what each individual's relationship is like and how that's supported their growth.
Yep. Faith is a big part of my journey, and it's all about my moral compass. And the way that I look at it is, I've been given the opportunity to help people. Any client that comes through the door at Khalil Lawyers, whether it's a family law client, a mother in distress, or a father in distress, or whether it's a commercial client or a property transaction, no matter the transaction, I see it as an opportunity to help someone. Whenever I am running a litigation case and I have to go before a judge, the first thing that I say between God and I is, God, I've done my bit. The rest is up to you. And I can't tell you how many times that I've had shivers by situations where I was told are impossible, complete impossible results to achieve. However, we've achieved the impossible. And to know that that's really inspiring, and it just strengthens my faith and my values. And that's why faith is important to me, because at the end of the day, I'm here doing His good work, and that's important.
It's interesting you say that, and it's also interesting because I feel like it's starting to become more of a common thing around business, where faith is starting to intertwine more, and people are starting to rebuild or build their relationship stronger with God through their challenges in everyday life and business. It's refreshing to hear that as well. So back in that period where you had the kids, you have 3 kids, you have the business. Did you have employees back then during that period where you were studying and you were pregnant?
Yes,
Okay.
I had employees.
Sure. Okay. And employees sometimes are a blessing, and sometimes they come with their different challenges, and then it's a gradual build of leadership skills within the individual to facilitate certain conversations and situations with team. So with all this compound built on top of each other, I feel like it was just like day in, day out overload, Antoinette.
Correct. And sometimes in business, you have to go all in. Sometimes there was a period when I had to go all in, and that was 2024 for me, because after coming from maternity leave and focusing on getting back into track, I had to rebuild, because I had taken time off for giving birth and doing my accreditation. I had to rebuild what had happened as a result of that. And I was okay with that, because I knew that my family needed me more at that time, that it was all about controlling the controllables.
Yeah.
I couldn't control it at the time. You just had to ride the wave. However, I was ready to go back in 2024 and rebuild. And I was focused and driven to get the firm where it needed to be, to continue driving, to continue growing, to continue providing the quality services that we provide, the quality legal services to the broader community.
Yep. Now, one thing that comes to mind, especially through a challenging period where there's 16 things going on at once, is that analogy where there would be a person spinning all these plates on their hands, or these poles. They'll be spinning all these plates, and each one of these plates resemble a certain situation they're dealing with in life, whereas one would be kids, one would be employees, one would be business, one would be cash, one would be studying, one would be pregnancy, So at all times, these plates need to keep spinning, but you only have 2 hands. So you're going to be giving a few more plates a bit more focus than other plates.
Correct.
So when the focus needed to be shifted on the exam, the studying, the pregnancy, I'm sure the business would have taken a bit of it would have copped it a bit, or the kids may not have felt, I don't know, I don't have kids yet, so I don't know what's involved in that yet, but I can only imagine the energy had to be, you only have so much amount of energy, so you had to sort of see where it needed to be prioritized, and it would have just been a game of just putting the energy where you could. Now, just facilitating through that, what would that look like?
First of all, support networks. Very highly important to have support networks around you. Now, I was not going to jump in the deep end if I didn't have the support networks around me to help support me.
When you say support networks, what do you mean?
Family. Family is a big one. You need to have the support of everybody around you, your parents, your husband, your partner, your siblings, whoever can support you. That's the first thing that you need to establish around you. Second, from a business perspective, having someone that can provide you with business advice is very important. And I was fortunate enough to have a business coach that was able to support me throughout my ups and downs. And at the end of the day, those 2 things got me through that period to be able to focus and rebuild from my absence.
Was there ever any moments where you thought to yourself, what the hell have I done? This might not work. I've overcommitted myself to too many things right now. And it's those moments of anxiety, those moments of doubting
100%.
thoughts.
Yeah, 100%. There were moments where I would be in deep tears, just not knowing how to handle or manage a situation, because it's all about how you deal with a problem. What steps are you going to take? And at that time, I was still learning. I was still learning how to navigate balancing all these different priorities. But one thing I can tell you, Pat, is I never gave up.
Yeah.
Because that's something that's not in my character. Resilience is a big thing for me. And I just never gave up. And I knew that this was a storm that I had to face. And once I got through it, it will be better at the other end of the tunnel.
Yeah, there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Correct. And that's the key.
Yeah. Was that always you? Was there always resilience? Was younger Antoinette a person of resilience, or was it something that you felt had been built over the years?
It was definitely something that had been built over the years throughout my experiences. And I always have mentors. I always look up to people. Regardless of where I am, when I'm at court, I observe barristers, I observe other solicitors and how they litigate. And I take away key points and I say, oh, wow, that's something that I would love to do. And I start adopting those things in my own practice and my own day-to-day life. So I think that's important. Having mentors help.
Of course, I feel like in business, and I don't know what it's like in the law firm or white collar industry, but I feel like in business, depending on which circles you're around, there's a bit of an ego. So a lot of people don't like talking about them having to look up to people and looking at seeing mentors and having mentors and feeling inspired by what this person has built and created for themselves. A lot of people, I feel, depending on the circles, just like to make it seem like everything has just been built internally. Do you feel like that's the case in the white collar world, in the lawyer world, or is it a bit more?
100%. You meet different people every day, whether it's your opponents or other colleagues. At the end of the day, it's not rocket science, whichever industry you're in. It's all about industry experience and how long you've been doing what you're doing. And that's the importance of being able to have belief in yourself.
Yeah.
One thing I want to mention, because you spoke about having an ego. Now, that is something that doesn't align with my values. For me, being humble is a big thing. And that's what I'm an introvert. I don't like to put myself in situations where I feel uncomfortable. I'm sure everyone else does. But being humble is very important, especially when you're in business. Being able to say, okay, I need mentors. I make mistakes. Being open to constructive criticism is something that's highly important, because if you're not willing to put yourself in a situation where at the end of the day, you need to learn every day, if you're not able to accept that and your point of view is, look at me, I know everything, no one can tell me otherwise, then you've already set the ceiling to where you're going to reach. However, when you're learning, there's always room for growth and making things better.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us about some family law cases that, well, you don't have to go into specifics, obviously, but like what does the family law side of the world look like from your view? Because there's a lot of, I can only imagine, a lot of emotion, of course, a lot of ego, a lot of money involved, assets. So what would your approach usually be? What does it generally look like when someone is dealing with a family situation and they need to engage a family lawyer?
Okay, so there's two aspects to family law, looking at the property side and then the parenting side. From the parenting side, you have to be a good listener. You need to understand your client. You need to put yourself in a position to be able to speak their language so that they can understand the advice that you're giving them. a lot of the time lawyers speak to their clients. However, the clients don't understand. There's a line of miscommunication.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in the industry, it's very important to be able to understand the client's perspective and then educate them about the process ahead. There is often this word that gets thrown around that the court system is unfair and it's sided against one party to another.
Mm.
I have a different view because I believe when you are seeking justice and you're wanting to tell your story, it's how well your story is told.
Okay.
And there is a notion that when you come to the court, it's an equitable notion that you need to come with your hands clean. You need to be able to tell your story with complete disclosure. And what that means is admitting to sometimes things that you have done wrong and being open to be having someone say to you, okay, you've got these issues in your case. Prior to the final determination, if you want this outcome, you need to work on these things and be open to that. A lot of times clients are not open to advice. Therefore, the outcome mirrors their perception. And that's the difficulty because I see it as a transformative process. A client walks in through our firm. We understand their problem. We understand their case. We take the time. With legal aid clients, it's difficult. However, we take the time and we give them the ability to have their voices heard. We then fight for them, but at the same time, we educate them so that when they go through the process, they come out transformed.
Yeah,
that's not easy, but that's the approach we take. With property matters, it's all about strategy and how you are able to understand commercial transactions and give advice to your clients in accordance with your client's property rights under the Family Law Act. And there's a lot of other commercial rules and issues that apply to it. And it's understanding how to navigate all these complex legal issues while giving advice. And that's why industry knowledge is very important to be able to understand what's going on and how to navigate through the process.
Yeah. Well, you're dealing with a lot of people and there's emotion involved as well. I can only imagine there's a lot of human lessons you would have learned out of all of this. What would you say you've understood about the clients that have come through your door and sort of human elements that you've learned over the years?
Sometimes people make poor decisions based on their surroundings. And when you look at, for example, a mother who has made decisions, whether it's taking drugs or alcohol, which resulted in her child being taken from her, it's understanding how to then speak to her and help her build better foundations in her life. And that's a common reoccurrence of a client that we often deal with. And we are able to provide them with the support networks, not just referring them to various outsources, but instilling values in them to help them believe in themselves. And a lot of the times I've been in situations where there's urgent recoveries and police have intervened, taken babies from mums because of this stigma that's a reoccurring factor. And throughout that process, by educating and helping them, we've been able to have those children return back to their mother as a primary carer. So it's a very difficult emotional process. I've also, one of the biggest cases that I've dealt with was last year, whereby we had a family report. In family law, it's all about the report, and it's a report by the expert and what they have said. this expert had said made recommendations where the child was not to live with mum because mum's risk factors. And within a period of 1.5 years, we've been able to push our client to make her life better and to push her to a point where when we got to final hearing, we were against all odds. The independent children's lawyer was against us. Everyone in that circle was against us. We were fighting a losing case. However, on the 6th day of that trial, I remember walking into that final hearing saying, God, we've done the best case that we could. We've done everything to help our client change her life. And the first thing that the judge said was, before hearing submissions, she said to the parties, I'm just putting it out there that I'm not going to follow the recommendations of the family report and that I'm giving you all an opportunity to make submissions out of procedural fairness. And when I heard that, I thought to myself, wow, I looked up and I said, wow, that is the impossible, because if you're in family law, you know how hard it is to have a judge not follow recommendations.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Far out. I can only imagine how exhausting as well, how exhausting this whole process is, having to deal with emotionally unstable clients going through this whole process, because of course it's a massive toll on them. Do you absorb any of that emotion? Do you absorb any of that weight? Because I feel like it would be hard not to. But then at sometimes you'd have to sort of tap in and, like you said before, you want to sort of see it from their perspective and understand their world from their eyes. Where do you draw the line where it comes to how much emotionally engaged you are, or how how exhausting it becomes for you?
It's very difficult to draw the line. Experience helps you understand and know where you're at. However, we're humans. Sometimes you take work with you in your mind. And many times I've, had matters where I would dream about them. They would be in my conscious and I just have to think, and it's my mind, on the clock thinking of a solution. And that's, the great thing about going to gym at 5 o'clock in the morning is your mind, you come up with great ideas and ways to get your clients out of some very difficult situations.
Yeah. Do you take these matters home with you? Do you take the emotional load and emotional stress home with you?
Emotional load, yes. However, early on, let's say about year 5 or 6 of my business, I made a decision not to take physical work home.
Okay.
I switch off.
So what did that look like? What was it like before? How did you?
Before, I would be working in the afternoons. At night, I'll be taking matters home. I'd be sometimes on the weekends. It was just all over the place. And then I felt like I was being overloaded and I needed that mental break. And like anything, when you write something down, you start to visualize it. And that's what I did. I said, I'm not going to take work home with me. I'm going to do my hours in the office, and that's where I'm going to draw the line. And it was the best decision I made because I was able to have that separation that I'm going home to spend time with my family and be there present with them.
Yeah. And that was about 5 or 6 years in.
Yeah, correct. It took a while to start establishing
that. Was it hard to transition over, or was it just like, stuff it, from here on, I'm not doing it anymore? Was it a hard transition?
Well, I had to build processes, make sure that there are enough processes in the business to be able to allow me to do that.
Okay.
And I think it was a shift in perception and mindset that I didn't have to work all this time. I just had to, whenever I was present, I had to be focused. And whenever I needed to delegate work, I had to delegate. Training, development and training, mentorship is a big thing in my business. And I had to mentor my staff as to how I want things to be done.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. You have a team of 10 or
10 plus me, 11.
10, 11. Okay. So navigating a team of 10 plus yourself, are you the only mentor for the team?
No, I have another senior solicitor in the firm who's also a mentor. However, in terms of driving the firm forward as the principal director, I guess I am the main mentor of the firm. And I see my role as advising, giving, perfecting. And the thing is, the great thing I love is processes and procedures.
Yeah, right.
And I'm sure you're the same, Pat. In your business, you would have processes and procedures when things go wrong or when
Follow the process.
But and
do they always follow the process?
Not always. It took a while for them to understand, because to follow a process, you need to believe in it.
Yeah.
And you need to understand the importance of it. And that education took time.
Yeah. I can imagine. We're similar thing. It's like it's all well and good that we can come up with the process, it eliminates all the issues that, like, you're building a process for a reason, efficiency and eliminating issues and supporting the business in other factors. But then now you have to sell it. Now you have to sell it to the team. Now
Correct.
It's like, now I have to do it this way. And then sometimes there could be a bit of resistance behind it. And it's like people just usually fall back to lazy habits or path of least resistance. They just fall into I'll just do it like the old way. And then things get missed and issues start occurring again. And the result that we wanted doesn't get hit. So it's like, shit, now I have to talk about why it's so important to follow the process. And the other person really needs to believe in it as well. It's a really great point. Talk to us about conveyancing.
Yes, so
because that's a big part of your business as well, isn't it?
Correct. So property and conveyancing is a big part of our business. And we focus on building relationships with other referral partners.
Okay.
And that was the key to the growth of the property and commercial division of our firm. We're all about building relationships, and it came down to understanding the importance of how a property transaction works, but it's the strategic outlook. What's the difference between a good property lawyer and conveyancer compared to someone else is their industry knowledge and experience. Because when things go wrong, that's the question. It's who you are and what strategic outlook. What are you going to do when things go wrong? And I've seen many transactions that have gone wrong. However, they all succeeded because of how we managed and how we outplayed them because of our industry knowledge and experience. And that's the key when it comes to choosing a right property solicitor or conveyancer. It's not about just ticking all the boxes with the transaction. It's knowing whether they have industry knowledge in the area and whether they've been able to run multiple transactions of complexity.
What would a situation look like if I didn't have a good property lawyer or a good conveyancer? I had an average one or I had a shit one. What's the differences? Like, I guess a good one would just get it done very, very smoothly and no surprises and be open with their communication and information flow. But if I had a shit one, what would it look like?
Well, they would miss a lot of the issues that come up. And
what does that look like? What sort of issues?
So it's all about having the processes in your firm to be able to understand the various issues. With electronic conveyancing, things can be easily missed, especially with AI. AI is a tool that's now taking over the world. And the biggest difficulty is using AI and not understanding. So AI to do the contract review for you and not understanding key issues. And that's very important because when things come up, it's vitally important to be able to navigate the process. And we had a matter that was just recently, we just recently finished in the Supreme Court, whereby we had to navigate, we acted for the purchaser in this situation, and the vendor did not complete the contract. However, we were able to get our client in early access in the property, and prior to the vendor and the vendor solicitors, because we saw it coming along, giving them early access gave them an opportunity to move into the property whilst we were running the Supreme Court hearing, looking for specific performance against the vendor. And that took time. That was a year. That case took a year long. However, we got there and we got the Supreme Court judgment in our favor, and our clients now got that property. So it's all about being able to strategically navigate and see how you can use as a bad situation in your client's favor.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm not part of this world. I'm going to ask a bit of a silly question. Take us through the different levels of court. So Supreme Court, is that the highest?
So, no.
How does it work?
Okay. So first of all,
I probably should have started the whole podcast with this question.
No, that's all right. Take a step back. You've got New South Wales, and then you've got the Commonwealth federal jurisdiction. Okay. Family law in general is a federal Commonwealth jurisdiction. It's under the Federal Circuit and Family Court of Australia, and that's Commonwealth, not state. State jurisdiction, you have the local courts, then the district court, and then you move up to the Supreme Court. And then the Supreme Court of Appeal would then go to the High Court, which is a Commonwealth jurisdiction. So any appeal from a Supreme Court, New South Wales level would then end up being in the High Court. It goes straight to the High Court. That's the
structure.
That's the structure.
And is there ever situations where things get escalated from the local court to the district court? What's the intention behind the district court, or what?
Well, it's an appeal process, and it has its level of jurisdiction. So it's got a monetary jurisdiction, and then you navigate your way through.
Okay.
And if you have a situation, for example, an equitable issue, and whereby you have a right in equity, then you need to go to the Supreme Court.
Okay. So what sort of qualifies the different cases between the different courts is obviously how big the matter is, but is it the financial weight of it? Or?
Correct. So each court has a financial jurisdictional limit.
Okay. And is that the only factor that?
No, there's other, as you go higher up, like I said to you, in the Supreme Court, it has broader jurisdiction to what the district and local court would have.
Yeah, okay. I appreciate your patience with my silly question.
It's not a silly
coming
question.
Coming from a Sparky.
No.
Well, okay. This is really all interesting stuff, especially to an outsider. And your journey has obviously left an impression, and it's very inspiring to hear these things. And I feel like a lot of people need to hear the level of resilience sometimes people have to push themselves to achieve an outcome. Talk to me about the Bulldogs. You've been a sponsor of the Bulldogs for quite some time. I've been in the stadium with 35,000 people, and then Khalil lawyers come up on all the screens, and it's the sickest thing to see that.
I know.
I can only imagine what it feels like for you.
Obviously, being in a core stadium and seeing our logo appear is, I can't explain it. It's the best feeling. My passion for the Bulldogs, I've always been a Bulldogs supporter. So in 2021, when the opportunity came to sponsor them, I was like 100% all in.
Yeah, no questions asked.
No questions asked. Everyone around me obviously questioned me and said to me, it's a bad business decision. And I said no, because it wasn't an investment. It wasn't a return investment. I wanted to invest in the long-term relationship with the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs have values that align with my values.
How so?
It's a family club.
Okay.
And and the people in that club are absolutely amazing to deal with. And going into that sponsorship in 2021 and now being 2026. So this would be our 6th year. It's been a great journey and we've had our ups and downs. We take clients, we give back to the community. And I think that's the best. It's all that givers gain mentality. We use the sponsorship to give back and give business owners and other people experiences through corporate hospitality.
Yeah, right. So it wasn't a business decision per se. It was more
It was both.
It was both. Okay.
Both. Long-term investment.
Yeah. Okay. All right. But the driving force was emotional, and this is a cool thing. But you also saw the potential that comes off the back of it.
Yeah, correct. Because I wanted to be in the room with other business owners that have that same ability.
Yep.
And I knew that this would be a long-term investment because building trust is not overnight. And this is what a lot of people don't understand. They walk in a room, hand out their business card.
I hate that. It's like they're shoving it down your throat. I met you 3 seconds ago, man. You don't even know my name.
That's right. The amount of business cards I have. And that's why I don't now, only in very minute situations that I'll take them with me. But if I have left an impression on someone and they've seen me long enough, they will know where to find me.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? And, it's that saying, I guess, hanging around the barbershop long enough, you end up getting a haircut.
Hey, I'll keep that one. I never heard that one before, but it makes sense. Right. It's far out. I hate going to networking circles or business circles where you're putting yourself out there, having conversations, starting conversations with people, and then there's a couple of people in the crowd that are not interested in building a relationship whatsoever. They're just It's like they're interested in handing out as many business cards as possible, and then see you later. I'm going home. It's like going around making their own. Hey mate, how you going? I do this. Here's my card. If you ever need anything, reach out to us. And it's the next person. Hey mate, how you going? I do this. Here's my card.
It's like speed dating.
I swear to God, it's like where do these people think that they're going to get any credit? There's no credibility built. If anything, it's a bit of a jab at who they are and the business they run. But I'm always curious to know if it actually works for them. I don't think it would, but a lot of people need it on themselves. It's a bit of a long game, and trust and credibility needs to be built rather than sort of just pumping out as many business cards as possible. It's weird, yeah. So it's good to hear that you say that. You can tell it's been on my shoulders for a while.
Yeah.
All right. So look, we've gone through the start. We've gone through the establishment of Khalil Lawyers, what that accreditation looked like for you while you were giving birth, and the resilience and what it took to push through and get you to this point. Talk about the Bulldogs. Now, looking at business and looking at being a principal lawyer of a law firm, what advice would you give to other business owners or people that are stepping into this space?
100% invest in administrative processes and resources.
Okay.
Because that is vitally important.
What does that mean?
So invest in the basic admin, file opening, for example, taking file notes, having the ability to have someone manage that process to get all the data. Data is vitally important in getting all that correct and checked off. Having someone look at the quality control of a client and making sure that they are being valued and undergone through that process of being able to speak to someone and be heard, then having someone look at their case. So the structure that I adopt in my firm is that it's a team. The olden day solicitor does not work in today's environment, especially when there are complex issues and complex transactions happening.
When you say olden day solicitor, what do you mean?
A solicitor back in the day is expected to work long hours and have very minimal support. They would be managing their own administrative, so the filing, the letter writing, the basic communication, emails, setting up appointments, looking at the actual documents, clients' documents, bank statements, contracts, etc., providing advice, getting their case ready to go to court, going to court, coming back. It's a very full-on role. In my era of being a solicitor, the courts have changed.
And technology has changed.
And what you found is technology, if you're not able to understand and use it properly where you're still in control and not taking shortcuts.
Yeah.
And when that solicitor that I was explaining that was doing long hours, that was being drained, would have to take shortcuts because they won't be able to balance. And what we found was from COVID is that everyone wants that balance now. Therefore, that type of solicitor does not work anymore.
Yeah, right.
Therefore, to be able to build a firm that has resources and investment in the administrative processes, to have paralegals that support the solicitor is vitally important.
It gives a solicitor more time for him or her to focus on what they need to focus on.
Correct, the legal work.
And deliver at a higher level.
And that's what I love because I love advocacy. I love going to court and litigating. However, if I was to run a firm and do all these things, I would have no time on my plate to do what I love to do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The chronologies, the subpoena review documentation, the various aspects, perfecting affidavits, getting the information. You can't do that in 1-2 hour meeting with a client. That client needs to come back a number of times. Quality proofing, reviewing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, well, I wanted to start wrapping it up, but before I start wrapping it up, what advice, and we don't need to talk about any stories or other examples, but what advice would you give business owners? What legal advice would you give business owners who may not know too much about where they need to protect themselves legally?
One thing that I would advise them is there's a lot of information out there. The government is great with resources, abundance of resources that can help businesses understand what needs to be done. The second thing that I would advise is to have the A-team.
Okay.
A good accountant, a good broker, a good financial planner, and a solicitor that they all can communicate with each other. Because we get times where we are asked to give advice, but that advice might not suit that person's circumstances because their accountant might say something different. As a business owner, you need to set yourself up with the tools, the correct people that can help you grow and get the information to build a solid foundation for your business.
Yep.
And that's what we are all about at Khalil Lawyers. We are all about understanding what the client wants to achieve. And after making the understanding, we then give the advice.
Yep. I think a lot of people also have to remind themselves how important it is to surround themselves with an A-team. Whatever part of the industry, that to me makes sense. I know in the past, we've been in situations where I've surrounded myself with the right people when it came to advice, and it was great to know that the right people I surrounded myself with knew the other people I was dealing with, and it was just so much more of a seamless process, and I felt like I had more support than ever because it was a nice, seamless situation that they were supporting me, I was supporting them by them knowing each other as well, and it was
correct.
It was a good time. It was a good time for everyone.
Correct, because business can be fun too.
Yeah. That's what we have to remind ourselves. Business can be fun as well. Antoinette, we usually wrap up each episode. Actually, before I ask this last question, I was going to say there's a last question that I like to ask. Did you want to say anything? Did you have anything to say? Any last words? Any last comments?
No. Well, first of all, this has been an amazing experience.
It always is.
And, I personally wanted to thank you, Pat, because Khalil Lawyers, you were the first person, one of the first people besides my husband who encouraged me to go all in and invest and bet on myself. And it was that conversation that we had in 2018 after the birth of my second child that made me take on this journey. And now I don't look back and I don't regret it and I absolutely love it. So it's that friendship that means a lot to me, Pat. So thank you.
I remember that conversation.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Okay, well, finishing up the episode, we usually wrap it up with this one last question that I like to ask all my guests. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
It's not a bad question. If you were to take out 3 people on a dinner date, and these 3 people could be anyone in the history of humanity or anyone in the current world as it is, who would these 3 people be and why?
That is a question that I did not think about. 3 people. Oh, wow.
Anyone in humanity, anyone in our current world.
Well, going back to faith, I would like to have dinner with the Pope.
Okay, yeah, with the Pope, the current Pope?
The current Pope, yeah. I would like to have dinner with the Pope because to be able to have that type of role with the pressure and that would be very inspiring.
Yeah.
I'd like to, have dinner with the Pope. I'd also like to have Michael Jordan is somebody that I would love to have a sit down because as a mentor, what he's achieved at a different high level and going all in with everything that he's been through, I think he would be purely inspiring.
Michael Jordan?
Michael Jordan,
Do you want to laugh just on that note? I'm finishing a book now called Relentless, and that's the author of that book is a guy called Tim Grover, who was Michael Jordan's coach.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's funny. I haven't heard about, I obviously know who Michael Jordan is, but I haven't heard that name dropped in so long until this book. And then I was listening to it this morning and he was talking about it as well. And then later this afternoon, you mentioned Michael Jordan. Anyway, yes, back to the last person.
And the last person, I guess, would have to be, Cody Sanchez, if you're listening. I listened to your podcast and she would be someone that I would love to have.
Antoinette, thank you so much for this podcast. It was great to hear your story, your journey and what sort of built Khalil Lawyers to what it is today. And thank you. I didn't mention it before. Thank you for the work that you put into our communities and into our networking circles and how much you give back.
Thank you, Pat. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. And thank you for joining us on today's episode. We'll see you guys on the next one.